Imagine a warship so powerful that it cost over $5 billion to modernize, a nuclear giant with hypersonic missiles, weapons capable of destroying entire cities, and virtually unlimited range. For decades, it was presented as one of the most feared weapons of the Russian Navy. But there's a problem. Even with all that firepower, there's an enemy that could render it practically useless. And the most impressive thing is that this enemy isn't a supercarrier, nor a nuclear submarine. It's cheap drones. Today you'll understand the story of the nuclear cruiser Admiral Nakhimov and why one of the most expensive vessels ever modernized may have become a symbol of an era that is coming to an end. The story of the Admiral Nakhimov began during the Cold War in 1983, when the Soviet Union still existed. Construction began on a gigantic Kirov-class battle, one of the largest surface warships ever built since World War II. At the time, it was named. The ship was launched in 1986 and entered service in late 1988, becoming part of the powerful Soviet Northern Fleet. A few years later, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was renamed Admiral Nakhimov in honor of a famous 19th century Russian naval commander. And it wasn't just the name that impressed. This ship was simply colossal. It is over 250 meters long, displaces approximately 28,000 tons, and carries a crew of hundreds of sailors. But what really caught the eye was its gigantic arsenal. During the 1980s, Western military analysts described it as one of the most heavily armed warships on the planet. The cruiser carried a vast array of weapons. Among them were long-range anti-ship missiles, air defense systems, torpedo-shivi, naval guns, systematic missile defense systems. All of this transformed the ship into a complete combat platform, capable of engaging submarines, aircraft, and other ships simultaneously. Furthermore, it could operate military helicopters, further enhancing its combat and reconnaissance capabilities. But perhaps the most impressive aspect was its nuclear propulsion system. Thanks to its reactors, the ship could navigate for extended periods without needing fuel, something extremely valuable in military operations at sea. During the Cold War, vessels like this were seen as the ultimate symbols of naval power. But then the world changed. With the end of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia faced a deep economic crisis. Maintaining such a large and expensive ship became increasingly difficult. Over the years, the Nakhimov performed fewer and fewer missions, until, at the end of the 1990s, it was decommissioned and taken to a shipyard. The initial idea was just to carry out repairs, but the project quickly transformed into something much larger. Russia decided to undertake a complete modernization of the ship. The plan was to transform the old Cold War cruiser into a modern naval superweapon. For more than 2 decades, the ship remained in shipyards undergoing extensive Its arsenal was completely updated. The old missiles were replaced by new systems capable of launching modern weapons such as long-range cruise missiles, Persic, anti-ship missiles, and even hypersonic missiles. Additionally, the ship received new radars, sensors, and electronic systems. Its air defense system was also modernized to face modern threats. But this entire process came at a huge price. The modernization ended up costing around $5 billion, and it took more than 20 years to complete. Finally, in the 2020s, preparations began for the ship to return to active service. On paper, it seemed more powerful than ever, but there was a problem that no one foresaw when the project began. Ships like the Admiral Nakhimov represent a massive concentration of military power on a single target. It cost billions to build and maintain, but relatively inexpensive drones can pose a real threat. In some recent cases, vessels valued at hundreds of millions of dollars have been damaged or destroyed by much cheaper drones. This raises an important question among military analysts. Are large warships still as relevant as before? Or are we entering a new era of naval warfare? Today, many armed forces are increasingly investing in unmanned systems. Drones can be mass-produced, they are cheaper, and they can be used in coordinated attacks. This creates a huge challenge for gigantic ships, which need to defend against multiple threats at the same time. For this reason, some experts believe that giant projects like the Nakhimov may represent an outdated view of naval warfare, a strategy inherited from the Cold War. The Admiral Nakhimov remains one of the most impressive vessels ever built, a nuclear giant with enormous firepower. But the emergence of new technologies is rapidly changing the way wars are fought. Today, the question is beginning to emerge among military analysts. Does the future belong to large warships or to swarms of cheap, disposable drones? The answer may define the future of naval warfare.